starts flushing it with white noise.
That's lovely.
Yeah, that's...
There's got to be an open source option. All right, you guys ready to roll?
Yeah.
Episode 12? 13.
13.
Episode 13.
Yeah, 13.
Do you even cast, bro?
Yes, I do. All right, hitting the record button. Let's do a quick mic check around the horn. Go ahead, Graham.
Check. How's it going? Golden Graham here.
This is fine. This is Oz.
Giggity!
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, you look fine. Manning.
Just want to say hi to all the sexy ladies out there in our fan base. This is Mr. T.
Do you have your webcam off on purpose?
Nothing there.
Yes, he does.
Turn your camera back on, brah.
I didn't have it turned off. Is it on?
Now it's on, yeah.
Yep, it's on.
Now we're good. Good.
Going off without a hitch. I love it.
Yeah, no problems at all.
All right.
You turned me up, right, Dan? You didn't turn me down.
I just turned it up, bro.
Alright. Better be turning me up.
Mr. T, you just turned me on. That's what you did.
Nice. I had that effect. Unfortunately,
I
only on men.
It was turning up, and so I went with it.
Turned down for what?
Turned down for what? Alright, the party started.
Yeah, Manny's got some drinking to do.
I have water.
All right.
Do you want me to read the listener feedback? Is there anywhere I can read? I'm good at reading.
He mixes up his own words. He's awesome at reading.
DZRmailbag@gmail.com.
Guys, it's not going to work. The two microphones is not going to work.
Yeah.
No, Tim will leave. He's good at that.
Yeah, I'm good.
He's just typing right now.
Gotta mute it. Mute it. Mute.
All right. Are the ones that are starred the ones you want me to read?
I want you to mute your mic.
That are starred?
Yeah.
Shannon, Endgame Talk showed feedback your podcast.
First time is Mr. T and Warren Power.
Gotcha. Richard, Jim, David.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, lack of silence, and I will launch into that always dynamic.
Welcome to DZR.
For all you guys out there on YouTube right now, thanks for watching. You're going to be live. Look, you can't quite figure out why.
Oh my God! Mute your mic, Tim. Mute it. Thank you.
Oh, somebody's calling me.
Oh, there we go.
It's the mic police. I'm gonna charge you with excessive use of mic.
I said your freaking mic is accurately YouTube.
YouTube. That's Cowboy Doug.
Cowboy Doug calling in live.
Let's go to the phones. Cowboy Doug on the line. You're live, jackasses.
All right. You guys ready? I'm going to take one more sip of this gin and tonic.
Not gin and juice? That's Snoop Dogg enough?
Am I muted over there?
Yeah, he is.
Welcome to DZR, episode 13 of the Dark Zone Report. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm dying. I gotta find get my plug.
Welcome to the circus, everybody.
You may have been able to tell by these last 10 minutes that we are not professionals.
Anybody notice the shirt I'm wearing? Huh?
Ah, look at that. Very nice.
Yeah.
That was a practice intro.
Did you guys see it? He's wearing his shirt.
I'm wearing my shirt.
Oh, yeah, look at that thing.
Agent says hello.
Can you stand up for a second? Can you stand up for a second?
Looks pretty good.
I'm just gonna shout and dance, mate.
That's a nice looking shirt, man.
It is. I love it. That's why I got it.
Nice.
Sweet.
Hot damn.
I can't afford it. I have a paper microphone, so.
I'll do it.
Damn, awesome sauce. All right, let's try it again.
All right. give this a shot.
Are we going to give the Flyers a shout out, Tim?
I'm going to. When I get intros, you shut your face.
Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome to DZR, episode 13 of the Dark Zone Report. I'm Danthrax. I'm your host. I've got a lovely crew of gentlemen to discuss things with this evening. Let's go around the table. To my right, the one and only Mr. Golden Graham. What's going on, Graham?
Not much, man. I am feeling good. The Flyers are in the playoffs. Woo! So I'm feeling real good and excited to talk some division tonight.
Yeah, and right next to him is the guy who thought he was giving the shout out to the Flyers, had his thunder promptly stolen, Mr. T. What's going on, Mr. T?
Yeah, I'm a little angry now because I had a funny joke. Jackass. That's fine. I'm good. How are you doing, Dan? I don't want to talk to Graham, so you can.
You want to try the joke, or?
Not now. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, what were the odds that it was actually funny anyway, really?
45%.
What if I... That's we calculated the odds. It could have been. The world will never know. Well, maybe
Actually,
we
it wasn't
can,
my joke, so somebody else told me the joke, so I thought I'd pass it off as my own.
Got it. And I note that you're leaning into that microphone again this week.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Got it. Right next to him, returning, slightly medicated. We think he caught the green poison somehow, but he still made it to the cast. Mr. Awesome Saws. What's going on, Saws?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Dollar flu is not going to get me. Yeah, on
Oh,
antibiotics, drinking some water.
What was the
Doing
actual...
all right.
You said something about swollen tonsils in the chat or something. Were you just...
Oh,
making-
yeah. Yeah, I got strep throat. 101.3 degree fever. It was great. Great. That was Thursday. Doing a lot better, but it was a wonderful Thursday afternoon.
Nice. And did you stream while under the influence of strep? No?
No, I did not. I went to
I laid
bed.
in bed.
I went to bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
So what are you doing with responsibility now? You're a gamer. You can't be responsible.
Seriously, man. You know, unless you're dead, the show's got to go on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Letting everybody down.
right? You cracked a big milestone this week, did you not?
Oh yeah. I hit 500. Mr. T was actually number 500, by the way. So
500.
thanks for that, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have done it earlier, man.
Yeah. So but you got the milestone, dude.
Do I get a free
So-
T-shirt?
No, you don't get anything.
I get the joy of being your 500.
Yes, you get that. You get that. You can brag to everybody when I'm famous.
There you go.
When
I
you're
was
famous.
500.
Bro, you are on the DZR podcast. I think that automatically.
This is true. This is true. I'm a freaking celebrity.
But congrats, man. 500. That's a big deal. And
Yeah.
Absolutely. Congratulations, man.
hopefully
Thank you. Appreciate it.
the next 500 comes twice as fast.
Oh yeah.
Let's jump real quick into some show news. Guys, we had as we talked about on the last podcast, we launched the DZR community Discord this week. And it's been a great week. We've had. Does anybody know what the actual to-the-minute count is?
Let's see.
86, I believe.
88.
88. So 88 of you have joined up, and it's been a lot of fun this week. There's been some really lively chat. What's been cool for us is to actually see some players kind of joining up and playing together, and so that's been a great spot. So if you want to be a part of that, just go on over to www.darkzonereport.com and get into the Discord. We really did have a fun week and talking strategy, talking the game, talking lots of odd and miscellaneous topics, just hanging out. We could actually use some more PC players in there. So if you're out there on a PC and you're having trouble hooking up with people to play with, check out darkzonereport.com and get in our Discord. We really did. I don't know what you guys thought, but we had a lot of fun this week, man. I mean, the chat was just was jumping. It was just great all week.
Yeah, Dan, you're in there a lot, man. I try and get in there as much as I can. I'm trying to promote people as often as I find them. But yeah, it's a lot of fun being in there and talking to people and just chatting about the game.
I don't even really know what happens. I just go in there and post random links. I'm like, hey, check out this baby metal video. See ya.
Yeah, that was fun. I watched
That was pretty good. That was a pretty good video, actually.
That was ridiculous.
So yeah, but
it's imaginary.
I try to get in there when I can.
I can say he actually posted that while at a Flyers game. I'm pretty sure that's accurate, right? At the game?
No, I was not at the game.
Oh, jeez.
We did watch it after the game, though, but you had already been like 9 beers deep, so you probably thought that I posted it.
Had a good time.
Yeah, baby metal is. I don't even know what to say about that. I think that's probably its own podcast, but. I mean, you can never really be the same after you've witnessed baby metal. So in any case, the Discord has been a lot of fun, and like I said, we got a nice mix of players. We've got some kind of high-level grinders in there. We've got some people that are still leveling. We've got people on all different platforms, and a really good group. Great tone of the discussion. So yeah, if you're looking for a place to hang out and talk Division, as well as possibly link up with some folks and find some people to play with, check it out, because it was actually a lot of fun and really worked out well. Thank you to everybody that signed up. And yeah, if you're on the fence, get over there and sign up. You won't regret it. The other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the show news this week is the upcoming launch of the Dark Zone Report web page, web presence, web empire. It's getting closer. Thank you to no, that's it, man. Thank you to everybody that responded. Last week we talked about how we're looking for some folks to partner with us in terms of providing content, and we had a bunch of people write in, and so you will be hearing from me this week, and we'll get that thing rolling, hopefully shooting for a launch here in another week and a half to 15 days or something like that. So things are going well. We're looking forward to providing all of you guys with a great resource for the Division, as well as some other kind of interesting topics that we think you might find interesting. So on that note, we talk every week. If you want to kind of interact with the show, there's a couple great ways to do it. One of those ways is to reach us on Twitter. We're at Dark Zone Report, and you can also send us an email at dzrmailbag@gmail.com. And also, one of the other great ways that people kind of connect and give their feedback on the show is by leaving reviews on iTunes. Thank you to everybody that does that and has done that. It really helps us. It helps get us in front of more listeners. So to the extent that you've got a minute and you're listening on iTunes and you want to drop us a review, always appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that has done that so far. On that note, I think we did get a couple emails that we want to kind of talk about. So I'm going to go to Golden Graham, as he is an excellent reader, one of the best among us. Let's go over some of the feedback we got from the listeners this week.
I have all the best words. I just want to say that. I know words. I have the best words.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
can I interject 1 second? I
Are
apologize.
you going to have a joke about? Are you going to have a joke now?
No. For the fun run, it's 10 o'clock. We're supposed to start right now. So if Golden, if you're watching, let's do this, man.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening now, if you're live, we're tonight, Saturday, the 9th, they are doing a fun run, which Golden, Mr. T, Pretzel Poncho, and who else? I'm not sure. Oh, and Ion Champion are all going to engage in adult beverages pretty rapidly before they go ahead and do a challenge mode. So if you're on there, they're going to be twitching that later tonight if you happen to be listening live. But as Dan Thrax mentioned, we have some great listener feedback. Thank you so much. We love talking about it all week, and we love to kind of handpick the ones out there. And Mr. T, since you chimed in, I will start with some feedback that is related to you. And you're going to love this.
Awesome.
So this comes from, he doesn't give his gamer tag, but David. Thank you, David, for writing in here. He says, guys, a listener mentioned that Dan Thrax sounded like Badger from Breaking Bad, which you totally do, by the way, Dan. I think everyone
never noticed it until that guy said
I never noticed it ever until now. Like, one day we got to have Badger come in and say some stuff, and then you say the exact same stuff, and we'll have that kind of matched. But David says, but don't you think that Mr. T sounds like Brian Posehn? I don't know how you say it. Is that how you say the name? Posehn? Yes, it was. That's who it was. Polos Hermanos. That's who it was. Who wrote in for that.
So the guy that has a connection to Badger is the one that's... All right, I got it. I disagree with this dude, but that's cool. I wish I could be as funny as that guy.
Yeah, I think it's Poyos, Spanish noob. Polos Hermanos. Get out of here with that. The other funny thing about this was that he actually sent in a picture as well, and I think we all agreed that that is undoubtedly Mr. T.
The funny thing is, I thought Dan was sending it to me. I'm like, dude, what the, like, saying, hey, this is what Tim's going to look like. I was like, what the hell, man? Oh, right. That's what I sound like, apparently.
It is, and I think you kind of look like him, too. Like,
a little bit.
A little bit. You kind of look like him. So thank you very much, Polos. Hermanos. Herman. Polo Herman?
Hermans? Polo Hermans?
Anyway, this one came in from Rage Platoon. Hey guys, great job on the show yesterday. First time listener.
Platoon, you noob.
Platoon.
What? That's what I said. Rage Platoon.
Wait, what is it really?
Platoon.
That's what I said.
Platoon.
Platoon. Rahaj. This one comes in from Rahaj Platoon. Thank you very much.
Tim knows all the words.
I know. Great. Anyway, he says, see, now you don't know if I'm really mispronouncing stuff.
So here's the deal. We only get feedback from a couple of listeners, so we have to say their names in different ways to make it sound like they're writing in. That's what's going on here.
Oh, God.
It's really a genius strategy, honestly. It's really just my marketing savvy. Anyway, he says, hey guys, first time listener, great job on the show yesterday. Just found y'all's podcast. Did I say that right, y'all's? As I was looking for a division-specific podcast this morning. I like the format, and I particularly enjoy the fact that y'all are adults with jobs, kids. So it's not like you spend 8 hours a day, every day, grinding, except for Golden Boy.
I was going to say, one of us does.
I look forward to hooking up with some of you the other players in the LFG rooms on Discord. Woo! And I'm excited to see how the community grows. I wanted to add something to your discussion about gear score coming next week. From what I understand from the state of the game yesterday, Hamish, or as Mr. T would say, Hamish, or Yannick were saying that the gear score will, in italics, will, in fact, be used to bracket players in the Dark Zone. I am kind of excited for that just because I'm tired of getting wrecked by a squad of players who are geared to the hilt. However, I am not super excited about seeing another score that I'll have to pay attention to. So I guess we'll see how it works out. Anyway, I just wanted to give y'all a shout. Great job on the show, all of you. I'm looking forward to listening to more episodes and being a part of the community. Thank you, Rahaj. And we look forward to talking to you in the Discord as well.
Graham is on fire tonight.
So what do you guys think about the gear score? Is that another number you guys are worried about? I was excited about it, but
that's another number.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
I bracket people. That's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sauce.
So I'm looking at the notes, and under Dark Zone, there is actually a note that has added a new Dark Zone bracket for characters with gear score 160 plus. So that will create a new area that will populate with 160 plus players. So I'm excited to hear that. I mean, a couple weeks ago when I was on, we were talking about the level 50 guys coming into DZ 1 and 2 and just blowing apart the lower end guys and just messing with them. So I'm happy to hear that they're going to start splitting that up a little bit more.
Yeah, it's sounds almost. I mean, it's almost exactly kind of what you were talking about and asking for on the last show. You know, I don't think
they listened. I appreciate that, guys.
It's one of those things where I don't know that it's going to be. You know, it's funny because I don't know it's going to be one of those things that we really have to worry about per se. I mean, we already know that it's going to look into your inventory and calculate the gear score. It's not like you're going to game to a particular gear score or you're going to have to target a particular gear score. Your gear score is going to be your gear score. So it's out there. The kind of one negative that usually happens with things like this is it could make some folks kind of exclusionary when it comes to LFG and group making and stuff like that. But it's not like you're going to have to manage that thing. It's going to be based on your best possible gear configuration. So I don't know that it's going to add a bunch of stress to the daily kind of aspect of playing the game.
Well, and it also takes into account everything in your bag. So gear score is kind of a good judgment, but I can also be wearing gear that isn't necessarily the best because I have certain perks on them that I want and things like that. So, I mean, gear score isn't necessarily going to be the be-all, end-all of deciding who's going to be the best person on your team. I could be wearing all great gear score stuff and just be terrible at the game because everybody just dragged me through all the challenge modes and things. So that could totally happen.
Or you could just not know what you have, and you might have this awesome thing, but you're just a noob and you don't know what it is, but it's in your bag, and so your gear score is elevated, but you don't actually have those things equipped or are using those things to their potential. So that's another avenue that you have to go down. Cool. So next one comes from, and this one I think I have way flexibility in pronouncing it however I wish. I'm going to call him Sparker666 Val because all it is letters, SPQR666 Val. He wanted to know, and I have personal experience with this, what the DZR gang thinks of the challenge mission for Warren Gate Power Plant, because it is just the worst to play. I have tried numerous times to beat it again and again, but it just seems to be giving up in the room. Where are you guys with your time? Because it's just that challenging. Want to know your strategies you might have because it is evil, and I absolutely hate the shotgun guys. They suck hard. So I two things. One, I appreciate the difficulty of this because we tried this, I think it was last weekend, and I died a couple times. And so much so that I would die, and I'm so happy for the new dead person cam where you can actually follow guys, because I died, I would end up falling asleep because I'd just be staring at my body while the other guys tried to continue on.
I was going to say, I thought you found it boring.
Yes.
We were constantly trying to get you to wake up.
Yes, that is true. But so what do you guys think of that mission?
It's difficult. I mean, it's only the second time I attempted a challenge. The first serious attempt at a challenge, and yeah, it was hard. It was a challenge. I mean, we didn't finish it, so that tells you how much, how challenging it was.
Yeah, and we were probably, so the group that we took in was probably a little bit under in terms of DPS. We had a couple guys that were right around 100, a little over 100, and I guess Mr. T, when you went in, you were maxing out on DPS at what, like 65 or something like that?
No, I think it was 75 by then.
Yeah, and I mean, the trouble is, we've talked a lot about how...
Which I still am, by the way. So tonight should be fun.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked a lot about how it's not all about DPS and all of that, but in a context like that where you're dealing with a a stage that's kind of designed around waves of enemies, and you have the element of a timer. DPS is pretty important, I think. The thing that I think we did wrong too is we were triggering all three drains or all three of the pipes or whatever. We were trying to kind of trigger them simultaneously, and so it was launching basically every wave. Up, there's the second shot from Mr. T.
We're good.
Getting ready for the fun run, which is coming up right after this.
Oh.
So, I think that was a kind of a not a great approach. One of the things Golden told us after was, triggering one at a time. But what we were trying to do was to essentially, spawn all of the enemies, or at least the first wave, and then pull them down into the little room, which would have been a fine strategy if we had unlimited time. The problem was the timer bit us, basically every time. So that's a tough mission, man. I think that's one of those where you really are tested from a DPS perspective because you just need to be able to deal with your enemies quickly.
Cool. So those were the three stories that we wanted to highlight from listener feedback this week. So thanks again, everybody, and keep them coming. Whether you want to give us live feedback in the Discord, or if you want to send us an email, that is dzrmailbag@gmail.com. Also, love your iTunes reviews. That helps us to get in front of more and more people on iTunes. So keep those coming as well. All right. So, Dan, what's next up here, buddy?
I just want to say your reading was excellent on that segment.
Good job. Gold star.
I'm sure Rajay loved it.
Yeah, Rajay. Platoon.
Oh, perfect. And actually, Rajay has been a big contributor on the Discord this week, so shout out to Rajay, Platoon. Dude, we love you, man. Glad you're part of the DZR family.
I'm French-Canadian, okay?
Dude, you're from... okay, whatever. French-Canadian. All right. Great. So let's jump into some of the main topics. There was actually some big news this week. It was funny because there was a bit of a pendulum swing. Last week everybody was really concerned and upset about the change in the kind of crafting scenario and what the exchange rates were going to be on when you were kind of crafting higher levels of crafting materials. And in the past week we had a couple of really interesting things dropped on us. One was what's going on here? Actually started playing a version of the podcast. Back and start the segment over. Yeah. All right, great. I think we want to jump into some of the main topics for the show tonight. First up, there was a lot of news in the Division world this week. After kind of last week where everybody had a lot of stress about the changes in particular to the exchange rates for crafting materials, I think the player base got some really good news this week, mainly that we were going to see a significantly increased frequency in the high-end drops coming from Yellow Bar and Elite enemies. So I think that was good news. Everybody kind of calmed down a bit after that, and the gist is that named enemies are going to have a really good chance of dropping high-end items, and that those high-end items are going to be leveled at the level that those named enemies were. So, for instance, if you drop a level 30 named boss, you've got a really good, excellent chance of getting a high-end item. It would be a level 30 high-end item. And the really great news about that is if you're used to running the boss run in the Dark Zone and you're consistently dropping level 32 yellow bars, you're going to have a really good chance for getting level 32 high ends. It was a very interesting thing. I listened to, UB Massive actually put out a podcast this week, and one of the things that I recommend everybody go and listen to it. It's with Hamish, and he had a couple of people on, one of which was a lady that handles the economics of the game, which I can't remember her name, so sorry if you're a listener. But she did a really very interesting kind of listening to what they were talking about, and you could kind of tell that what they had seen happen was essentially people were spending all of their time at the crafting table. And, that's not what they wanted the game to kind of be. Saws is showing a chart right now. They actually had some data on of the high-end items that were out there in the wild, where players got them from, and it was really striking because the kind of overwhelming majority was through crafting. And I think what they said, looking at that, was, we're not interested in a game that is just about crafting. This is a shoot-to-loot game, and so that essentially, after hearing that, you kind of understand what they were doing by kind of restricting the crafting economy a little bit and putting more and more of those high-end items out in the wild that you could get from bosses. So, I mean, what do you guys, Saws, what do you think about it? I mean, I was really kind of happy to see that change. I think it's good for the game, actually.
Yeah, when I first heard the news about the economy changing with the crafting, I was really, really nervous because were they just increasing the difficulty of getting high-end weapons? That's what upset me, because a lot of the changes that other games like The Division have made have been for the upper end of player. So not necessarily the casual person that gets on, maybe plays 3-4 hours a week. So thinking about that person, and if they hadn't thrown in this 100% drop rate for named enemies, thinking about that person for a second, they would never be able to craft anything because they would be getting these very low number of golds, very low number of greens, blues, and then having to convert those up.
Yeah, so by the way, deconstructing items was going to yield, it wasn't just the ability to upconvert, even deconstructing items was going to yield less and less.
Yeah. So having that 100% drop rate off of named enemies, it gives people a reason to go into the Dark Zone and hunt down those named guys and try that area out. One thing that I'm a little bit frustrated by with this is the fact that those roaming named enemies that you encountered throughout the game, you killed, and they're not coming back. So for the people who went around and, like myself, hunted down all of them that they could find and try to collect everything, they're not there anymore for me to try and drop out in the wild and get a high end off of. Now, I don't know if those would necessarily be those 30 named enemies that something could drop off of. I hope they would be. But I'm a little bit frustrated because they're not there for me, whereas somebody who hasn't had the opportunity to go around and do that, they're going to have that opportunity. So I'm a little bit frustrated by that. But going into the Dark Zone and being able to hunt down those named guys is going to be a lot of fun, and you're definitely going to see a lot of golds drop off of that. So I'm super excited to see that happen, and I'm excited to see where the economy goes from here. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think, there's the nice thing about the Dark Zone, too. It is going to push people into the Dark Zone, I think, because you do have that respawn factor, right? Like, there's a couple of these loops that are out there that you can literally just run from boss to boss to boss. You can hit 3 bosses in 10, 12 minutes. And if you want to grind, man, you can just go out there and run the cycle, and that's likely to be pretty lucrative from a gear standpoint going forward, which I think is it's not a bad thing. I think the other thing it speaks to is, and we're going to get into the incursions in a little bit, but I think the other thing it speaks to is just how hard these incursions are going to be.
Yeah.
At all worried about sprinkling us all with an abundance of
They're literally just throwing them out to us like freaking confetti, and so that definitely gives you an idea of how difficult this is going to be. Something that I was considering here, having those. I just want to mention to everybody that in the Dark Zone, if you put 1 bullet into a named enemy in the Dark Zone, that credits you as part of the kill. So if you are with a team of 8, or if for some reason you pick up another team of 4, if you put 1 bullet into that named enemy, you get credit for getting that kill, and you will have a high-end drop. At least that is as far as I understand. So don't quote me on that. But as far as I understand, if you put 1 round into that named enemy, you have a chance of having that high-end piece drop for you. So don't worry about teaming up with people, because I was thinking about like having those routes of the go to the named enemies all over the place. And I was thinking, well, everybody's going to be there trying to get them. But if you do put a round in, you will get a chance.
Yeah, and I think the other interesting thing about it is that, we talked last week about the supply drops, but the other thing that's going to happen is anytime you see somebody with a yellow loot bag, very high percentage that they've got some yellows in there. So I'm interested to see what that does to the dynamic as well, because everybody's going to be picking up high ends, and I'll be curious to see kind of how that affects the going rogue situation.
Mm-hmm.
So other things that happened this week, that was one of the big things, and I think that made people feel a lot better. One of the other big pieces of news to drop was about gear sets. And we talked about gear sets a little bit last week, but I was actually kind of surprised they did this, but they actually kind of put out what the different sets were and what the perks were going to be. Anybody have them in front of them and want to actually just read?
I do.
I think Graham's got them. Go ahead, Graham.
Sure. So let's see here. The first one is Striker's Battle Gear, and the other thing that I was excited about too is that so when they were originally kind of announcing this, it seemed like you had to have all 4 pieces to kind of have anything worthwhile. But actually, the fact is that you can have 2 things or 3 things and still have a pretty decent effect that is actually added on to your character. So the first one is Striker's Battle Gear. And if you have 2 pieces of Striker's Battle Gear, whatever that may be, you have plus 20% enemy armor damage, which is great for those elites. If you have 3, you'll have critical hit damage. It doesn't give a specific percentage there. And then if you have the 4, all 4 pieces, that's when you get the talent, and every consecutive hit deals 1% more damage, stacks up to 100%, which is awesome. And your missing shots, Mr. T, this is for you, drops bonus by 2%. Bonus is reduced by 1% every second. The next one is Path of the Nomad. So if you have 2 pieces of Path of the Nomad, you get plus 50% scavenging. 3 pieces is plus 20% health on kill. And then if you have 4 pieces, this is kind of like, and again, sorry for the Destiny reference, kind of like the Warlock revive. When receiving fatal damage, you are instead healed up to full health. So basically, when you're about to die, once every 10 minutes, this thing will trigger, and you'll actually not die, and you'll get completely full health. So that's actually going to be very helpful, I have a feeling, for in the incursions. The third one, what's that?
So that's more for me.
True, that is more for you. Yeah, you were a Warlock, so you radiance all the time. Tactician's Authority is the next set. Set bonus of 2 is 4,000 skill power. So that might be nice for our hoagie out there who loves to sticky bomb. So you get an extra 4,000 skill power. 3 bonus is plus 20% skill haste, and then set bonus 4 is Tactician's Authority, which is the talent. And every 60,000 damage your group deals adds 1% skill power to you for a max of 100% bonus. Bonus is reduced by 1% every second the group isn't dealing damage. So really cool talent there. And lastly is Sentry's Call. Set bonus 2 plus 30% headshot damage. Set bonus 3 pieces of gear is plus 20% damage to elites. And if you have all 4 pieces, you get the Striker talent, which is headshots mark the enemy, increasing the damage inflicted on the target by 15% for a duration of 10 seconds each. Target can receive up to 3 marks. And they put a nice little graphic out there as well that kind of captures all of these notes, so you can check that out. But overall, very, very excited about those. Mr. T, you said Tactician's Authority is what you're going to be looking for. What do you, Saws? What do you, the Anthrax? What are you guys going to be at? I'm probably going to go for Sentry's Call, I think.
I'm thinking about probably doing, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what group I'm going to run with. This is really important, thinking about your role in your group. You need to have a group that you're going to run with consistently, because that way you can build up sets around that. You probably don't want to get, I don't know, you could build up all of them, but thinking about what I would want to have on me totally, I'm probably going to go for the Tactician's Authority. I do like to heal. That is something I enjoy doing. Something I enjoy being that backup for people, keeping them alive. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the idea of stacking multiple, like wearing 2 pieces from one set and 2 pieces from another, and seeing that happen. In my opinion,
let's talk about that real quick. So the way we understand it, and this is all kind of coming from basically how the community is interpreting this release that they've put out. In the release, they actually showed in parentheses these numbers, which we're assuming to mean pieces of gear. So in a previous kind of commentary that we heard that, well, you'd have to have all of the gear to unlock, these certain perks. But what we're kind of interpreting from what we've seen is that there are these tiers of benefits from these set pieces that, for instance, if you have 2 pieces, you might unlock, in the case of the Striker's Battle Gear, the 20%, plus 20% enemy armor damage. So that's what makes this really interesting. Originally we thought, these are just going to be things we have to carry around in our inventory until we can put together a complete set. Now I think the way the community is really viewing these, and we won't know for sure until we actually play with them, but is that you can mix and match. So you can wear 2 of one, 4 of another. Right now we think, based on the graphics that we've seen, that there are going to be 6 total potential gear slots. But the great thing is it appears that you can wear 2 of one, 2 of another, and get the benefits of both. So Saws, I don't know. I mean, were there any particular ones that you're really thinking about mixing and matching together?
Not necessarily, but I think in terms of like building up to the boss, I think you could stack something like skill power and enemy armor damage. Or, I mean, Path of the Nomad is probably for your tanky person, and having a 2 set bonus of plus 50% scavenging is not going to be very helpful for your tank. So, I mean, if you're building up to the boss, if you're taking out just waves of enemies, I mean, maybe having skill power to keep your shield up or whatever. I think it's interesting to think about how those might play off of each other coming up in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so. I was looking at there are 2. So if you look at Striker's Battle Gear for me and Sentry's Call, I mean, my playstyle, I talked about it a little bit on the cast before, but I do a lot of M1A and submachine gun is typically my loadout. And so I generally will range, have ranged encounters, and I've gotten pretty good at headshots with the M1A. And, I always have the submachine gun. I'm using a Vector right now for my kind of close-up stuff. But if you were able to kind of do 3 and 3 from the Striker's Battle Gear and the Sentry's Call, and this is all, look, based on how we understand this to work right now. It might change when we actually see it. But that would give you essentially a plus 20% enemy armor damage, a 100% critical hit damage, a 30% headshot damage, and a 20% increase to damage to elites. To me, that is a challenge mode build right there. You couple that with some of the other talents like One is None, and some of the other kind of supplemental talents that we already have in the game, and you're just getting to a spot where you can build these just extraordinarily powerful builds. I'm really excited about this stuff. Now, it's all going to key on how hard is this gear to find. How stingy are they going to be? How kind of stingy is the RNG table going to be when it comes to these set pieces? Which I guess we won't know until we
it's
actually
kind of spread out, right? I mean, from what Eric's was saying, you can get them in incursions. Some you can get in blueprints, some you can get in challenges, and then some are just you got to go find them. So they're not going to be easy to get. I mean, the some where you just got to go find them. What does that mean? Is it going to be in like somebody's closet in one of those houses you can go to? Probably not. Probably not. But
it's in one of the fridges. It's in one of the
exactly. It's in the fridge. Oh look, you found a piece. Sweet.
That's a high-end holster. Keep that in my refrigerator.
Everybody, you got to keep it cool, man. Got to keep it cool.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
just the chase. I think the chase is going to be fun in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I think one of the things that I was really happy to see is that you can really see how kind of a pure. Now, Path of the Nomad might be the only one that I kind of look at and I say, in the context of a team that you're building specifically for incursions, you could probably get by without somebody spec'd in the Path of the Nomad, just because, like Saw said, scavenging. Health on kill would be helpful from a tank perspective, but I think the other three you can really kind of see, wow, yeah, you could really do great things, kind of speccing a whole team together to run this, running different builds, and it would really, you can really kind of see how these things would synergize off each other.
I have to say I'm kind of excited about just visually how they look. I mean, looking at these, they're pretty cool looking. Looking at the Strikers battle gear specifically, I mean, it's a pretty nice. The art is good on these. So I'm just looking forward to the visual part of it as well. So I don't know.
So let me ask you this, guys. So this was a big selling point in this game was there were no classes in this, right? You could do whatever you wanted. You could be half tank, half support, and all that. This is obviously they're introducing classes, but you could still mix and match. I mean, so where are you guys now with not having classes? Because I was all for it, and now I'm kind of like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of like, I want to be support, but I kind of also want to do tank.
I like that, man. Imagine again. I'm going back. Sorry, Destiny. Imagine if you could have, like the Warlock melee with the Titan hammers. You know what I mean? Like you could kind of mix and match that way. Like that's kind of what this is in a way. Like you're kind of substituting things. You don't get both. You don't get the radiance and the hammers or whatever.
Right.
Or in this case, you don't get revive and massive damage. So I think I like it a lot. I think it's a very cool way to think about it, and it really destroys the concept of classes and lets you kind of create your own and makes the community kind of build things. As I was going to comment on the look of the pieces. I think I'm excited to see what the how they can build on top of it. I think the stuff they're putting out now looks good, but again, the ultimate kind of concern is that there's no crazy edge. You can't make them neon blue and glowing or other kind of things in there. So I think they're going to look good and look nice, but I'm curious to see what is the next set of DLC gear look like. Is it just a different color or what? So I don't know. It could be cool. It could be themed maybe, but. Yeah, maybe the next one will be like the cowboy for everything's got like a Wild Wild West thing or a space thing.
Cowboy Doug here, telling you what gear set you should get.
That deerskin jacket.
If you like to shoot some New Yorkers in the head, maybe you should go with Sentry's Call. Just my opinion.
Buckskin pants are where it's at. Those things are silk smooth and waterproof.
They're super comfy. No, but I mean, so they're introducing classes into this game that didn't have classes. I mean, was there a backlash against the no classes where people? I mean, I don't know. I'm just totally spitballing right now. I've had 3 shots and I'm trying to figure out something. I don't know.
To me, first of all, I would love to get my hands on a pair of tactical chaps myself.
Assless, or do you need your ass covered?
Aren't they all that? Aren't they all?
Probably. I don't know. That's a good point. Then why is there such thing as assless chaps?
I don't know.
Just be chaps?
I think we're going to be launching a spin-off on Cowboy Fashion. That podcast you'll be able to find it on
iTunes. Cowboy Doug here.
Cowboy Doug, fashion tips. No, I think that it's interesting because they're introducing the ability to play in classes, but again, the fact that you can change this up even mid-mission, I can almost guarantee that there's going to be situations where people say, you know what, if you're completely geared, start the mission with this build, and then when you get to this boss, change to this build because 3 guys running a heavy striker type build are just going to melt him. I think that's one of the things where I think they maintain that kind of really positive thing they had going, which was flexibility in the builds. And
when you go commando, you have flexibility.
Yeah, we're getting text. We're getting text. Cowboy Doug, who, one of these days we'll actually get back on. He was in episode 1, but he hasn't been on since. Is texting us furiously because he wants to be part of the show, even though he's not playing the game. It's all right. We miss you. We love you, and we're looking forward to the chaps in the game.
He was in episode 1?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Cowboy Doug. Well, yeah. So anyway, I'm excited about the gear. Here's what I'm worried about, guys. Is like challenge mode already. Like we were just talking about the power plant mission. Like that's hard enough already. Like how are we going to get through this incursion? Like what do you guys? It's this big room is all we've really seen, right? It's like this big Falcon underground warehouse or something like that. What do you guys think the mission's actually going to be?
Well, so that was an excellent.
Nice segue.
Very nice, my friend. Into the next item of the show notes. One of these days, we're going to have a Golden Grams hosted podcast, and I think he just made a very strong case right there for why. We're not going to skip a beat.
Look at that poo-eating grams.
You say segue, I say segwa.
Okay. That's what we have to look forward to.
Excellent segue, my friend.
Drastically mispronounced words.
Yes.
From the host.
Welcome to Division. No, I think it's funny because with the incursions we've gotten some more detail on them, and there's a couple things that I think are really interesting. Number one, we know for sure now that this is a 4-man activity. So everybody that was hoping that this would be multi-teamed and whatever, as of now, it's a 4-man activity. I'm sure the community will find a way to glitch more than 4 into these things. But as it stands right now,
Greenlanders will be glitching it to get through it, paying the gold price.
Yes.
Sorry, I got to work that in it's in my contract. I got to work that in every cast. Sorry.
That's fine. I think yeah. So, there's going to be 4-man groups, and there's a couple other things we found. One, there are no checkpoints in
That's
these things.
insane, man. That's insane.
Boo.
You get all the way to the end, and you die on the boss, and you got to do the whole thing again.
Dude, that is like, dude, that's gonna be so painful because there's so many times where it's been like 3 a.m. and I'm there, and I'm just like, I just want to go to bed and I want to start fresh the next morning or the next night. And now it's not. You gotta stay up. You gotta finish it. You gotta go. And then if one guy quits, then you're like, well, no one leave. I'm staying in. We gotta get 3 more guys in here. So
yeah, no more Dan Tuesday morning getting the CP for Atheon so that we can play it on Saturdays.
Yeah, get the checkpoint, guys. So we're good.
That's a checkpoint, guys.
That I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how difficult it is. But if those, if it's that difficult as I think it's going to be, then that's going to be a big pain in the butt.
I mean, they're saying if challenge is hard, then incursions is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, honestly, I'm excited to go in there and get my tail kicked. I think, if you've played games where there has been a kind of raid-like experience, it just takes it to a different level. I mean, it really does, because you're in a situation where, even right now in the challenge mode, certainly more coordination is needed. But one of the things they've talked about extensively with the incursions is that there are going to be real mechanics. There are going to be things we haven't seen yet in terms of coordinated team activity that needs to happen in order for you to have success. And that's something we haven't seen in this game yet, really, right? I mean, to some extent, there's been, make sure you've got some complementary loadouts. You try not to have everybody pulse at the same time, right? Like, those have kind of been to the extent of the kind of team activity that we're having. It sounds like the incursions are really going to be team heavy. I mean, they were stressing. So there's been two things I would recommend for listeners that haven't heard it. One is go and find the Twitch where where UB Massive actually talked about the kind of drop that was coming. There's a lot of really good information in that Twitch stream. They actually showed some footage from the incursions. Definitely go and check that out. And the other is, again, we mentioned it earlier, the UB Massive podcast that came out this week where they talk a little bit about it. And there's some really good insight in there. One of the things that we found out was that, in essence, the lead developer on the game hadn't beat the challenge mode of the incursion. So there's 2 levels of difficulty. One is hard, one is challenge. And some of the folks at the kind of highest levels, even designing the game, hadn't been able to beat the challenge mode, which is pretty amazing. One of the things we've heard is that they're QC guys who are the kind of best of the best over there in terms of playtesters. It had taken them 2 or 3 days to actually beat the incursion. So I think we've got a treat coming up for us, but I'm just excited because it sounds like there's real kind of mechanics in it, and there's real kind of a need to work as a team. They keep stressing that, and it's one of the things I'm really excited about. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's funny though. I think back, Golden Grams mentioned it. When I think back to some of our raiding experiences in Destiny, right? It's like, exactly the situation that Golden Gram said. It's 2 a.m. You're sitting on Atheon. You've had like 6 wipes in a row because somebody doesn't know how to run the relic. No names, Mr. T. But somebody doesn't know how to run the relic. All right, that was the last game. Somebody doesn't know how to run the relic or whatever, and you're just like, you know what? We'll just leave it. I'll pick it up. I'll LFG it. I'll whatever. This is really going to be, man, you do it or you don't, and I'm kind of excited about working on something, having something that it takes a couple of weekends to beat. I really hope they're good, guys. The other thing that they mentioned, which I'm sure you guys picked up on, was that we will actually have a new enemy type in this incursion. There will be drones. There will be
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Drones in play.
Yeah, I tweeted out that I was watching it in live tweeting, and I was saying that finally there will be something to piss you off from behind cover. So they will be able to flank you. They'll be able to get on top of you. So you're going to really have to think tactically about that, and it's going to be frustrating. I'm probably going to be swearing on stream. So
and you can find Awesome on Twitter at Awesome Saws Game.
At Awesome Saws. So,
awesome. Yeah, no, and that's a good point. And it's really funny. We know there's a vehicle in the game that we've gotten hints that, or in the incursion that we've gotten hints that you won't be able to shoot to kill, that there's going to be some kind of mechanic to beating him. And we know that there's drones in the game, and we don't necessarily know how those are going to interact with, will there be certain weapons that are more effective? So it's really, we've got a lot to look forward to. But there's one thing we know for sure: that drone won't be your friend playing from his iPad. But we'll leave that alone for now.
I was incredibly hopeful, man. I was like, dude, they're putting drones back in. This means that maybe the next release they'll issue a companion app, and maybe that companion app will be able to control a drone.
The problem with that, though, is that's probably something where you would have to release the drone, and then I could play it, and I don't think the drones would be as good as we thought they were going to be.
No. So for those of you that didn't follow Division pre-launch, they actually at one point teased the whole thing where not only would there be a companion app, which I would just take anyway, but
yes, please.
Let alone
Hamish, are you paying attention?
Let alone that, but they had a cool feature where someone could actually control a drone that would be like you can have your Jeffrey or your little seeker mine that someone actually could control on their iPad and actually go around and actually help you out. But that didn't come in the live game. But anyway, so I don't know. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a drone, which would be.
What you're talking about when you talk about drone?
That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about. Okay?
Gotcha.
So incursions, guys, launching on Tuesday. Just real quick, let's just go around the table. Who feels like they're actually ready from a gear perspective to take on the incursion? By your laugh, I'm assuming you're feeling.
I have 2 pieces of 31 gear, so I'm definitely not going to be playing the incursion for probably a month.
You got to try it at least, right? Though I mean, you got to give it.
No, well, it's.
Well, you might be gear scored out. Yeah.
It's gate locked. Yeah.
I think for hard, you'll be able to get in. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I think there's a recommended level for hard.
From what I've read, that it's locked at 31.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, it's all speculation. I don't know, but
yeah.
The nice thing is, with the increased drops, we should hopefully be able to get in and farm the Dark Zone and to are locked, be able to get there pretty quick. Saws, do you think you're about ready, or you got some more work?
No, I am not ready yet. I have 3 pieces of iron gear, so we're gonna have to wait around a little bit. So I'm probably gonna go in, bash my head against a wall for a couple days, and then just go farm DZ. Get some high-end stuff, see if I can get all golds, then go in, see what happens. Probably try and pick up Nightmares or somebody and run with them. So we'll see. We'll see.
Nightmares, who, by the way, is a member of the DZR Discord. So get on there. If you're looking for somebody to run with, that's a good place to find people. Graham, are you close to being ready, or you got a little bit of work to do before you jump on the incursions?
Well, number one, if you join the Discord, I will make a very good attempt to butcher your name next podcast. But I don't think I'm ready. I have a pretty high DPS, but I think I'm we have 4 high-end pieces right now, 4 or 5.
31? Nice.
At 30. I think they're 30 level, not 31. So I'm gonna have to do some grinding before I think I'm ready. I'm definitely gonna try it though. As soon as I can get it, I'm gonna go in because you gotta. That's fun. Maybe have Golden Boy and some other people carry me through. So we'll see. Carry through me.
So here's the question: How long? Hang on 1 second. How long do you think it's going to take DZR and JUI to get through an incursion? So if it's dropped on April 12th...
World's first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Seriousness, though.
I think Pretzel and Golden will be pretty well off
in all
as far as
DZR crew, though. But in all DZR crew. I'm sure they'll go out and do it with their butt buddies.
I'm going to say...
By the way...
Well, you can tell that's number 4 or 5?
4.
You can't say butt buddies on the stream.
Butt buddies? There's nothing wrong with that. It's
Dan's
okay
yelling
if you
at
have
me
a
through
butt
my
buddy.
microphone. Anyway, I think about a month, I think, is about our average before we can kind of figure out. And that's
May?
Well, it depends. It depends on if we go out there and research, or if we just try to figure it out ourselves and pay the iron price.
The iron price.
Yeah.
You guys aren't paying the iron price. Stop fooling.
You're not gonna. Or what happens is we go and research it and we know all the things, and then you go in there saying, "I'm gonna find the iron price," and we're like, "Dude, just do this thing, do this, jump here, shoot this thing, jump over there," and you're like, "What?"
That actually never happened. You're a dirty, filthy liar.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we weren't streaming at the time, so we don't have the video proof. But anyway, I think, you know what, guys, you've given me a great idea. I think, so we're doing a DZR fun run in, literally the next 10 to 15 minutes here. But next week, I'm thinking the Saturday night stream will be incursion focused. So win, lose, or draw, we'll be in there. You can get us on twitch.tv/Dark Zone Report. One of the things we wanted to do, we've gotten some interesting feedback, all of our feedback is interesting, but we have gotten some feedback from folks. We know we've got a wide range of listeners. We've got folks that are still leveling to 30. We've got folks that are deep into the end game. Listen, we want the show to be valuable to everyone, so let's just spend, for the next kind of last couple minutes of the show here, if you are still leveling, if you have not gotten to 30, we're just going to spend a couple of minutes talking about the things that you can do. Now, look, some of you we know are kind of taking a nice leisurely stroll through the game. That's excellent. Play the game you want to play. Play it the way you want to play it. But for those of you that are looking to kind of level up quickly and are kind of in that spot where you're saying, oh, shoot, I really want to catch up so I can kind of get into incursions with my friends, we do have a couple tips, and I think this is one of the things that we're going to be putting out there in kind of a more formalized write-up. There's some great videos on leveling. As always, kind of check the main sources. Check Marco. Check Boomslang. Check Eric's. Check Caxis Gaming. Check Skill Up. There's a lot of guys out there doing some really great content, and a lot of them are focused on how to level. But Real quick before we go, any tips from anybody on those folks that are still under 30 and are looking to kind of get up to 30 quickly to try and get into some of this endgame content? Saws, you got anything on this?
My suggestion is I've seen several people run into this problem where they see that story missions are the way that you can get the most experience, and at least from the solo aspect of it, they just go and they do the story missions. And eventually they run into a situation where they're in a level 27 recommended mission, and they are like level 24, level 23. And they're getting frustrated because they're bashing their heads against a wall.
Right.
What you really need to pay attention to is clearing out those side missions as well. Those side missions give you a big chunk of experience. You should be doing the side missions in addition to those story missions. So try and clear those out as you go. Don't worry about the resource missions for the boo. Don't worry about those. Just focus on the story missions, then do the side missions. Go to the next place. Story missions, side missions. So that's my biggest recommendation for the solo player.
I mean, something Golden told me early on was basically clear out a district. You know, do the story, do the side missions. You know, do encounters. You level up, you get to the next one, and you clear out the district. And that seemed to work for me.
Yeah, I think the encounters specifically are really useful for if you're looking to unlock certain perks and things like that. Experience-wise, they're not going to help you necessarily level per se, but the reality is, you know, you're going to need to, if you are still really early in the game, you are going to definitely want to have some of the skills and things that are available through kind of unlocking the different areas of the boo. But definitely missions, side missions. If you really want to level fast, hop on our Discord and ask some people to carry you, and then sit back and heal them as they run you through the mission. You will get the XP. That is not the iron price, as Mr. T would say, but if you're looking to get to 30, that's a good way.
Just for the record, Pretzel Poncho did not pay the iron price. I just want everybody to know that. I want to put that out there. You didn't pay the iron price, man.
There it is. Hey, we are going to wrap it up here. We are closing in on an hour, and we are closing in on our DZR fun run, which we're really looking forward to. We've talked a little bit about it on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so if you didn't get to watch it on Twitch as it happened, there will be a kind of edited version that will be put out next week, which will have me and Golden Graham providing expert commentary and unique perspectives from likely all 4 players. So it should be really exciting. Be looking for that on YouTube and Twitch. As always, we are extremely thankful and humbled by the fact that so many of you listen to and enjoy the show. The show is continuing to grow. Look, share it with your friends, share it on Twitter, write iTunes reviews, do all that stuff. If you like the show and you want to see it keep going and keep growing, then be a part. Jump into the Discord, be a part of the community. And if you want to find other ways to support us, you can always kind of look at the T-shirts that we have on teespring.com/stores/DZR. Good stuff on there. I've been a little lax in getting out the one design per week, but we're going to get back on that schedule once we get the site launched. I've been a little busy. But in any case, thank you for listening. Listen, by the time you hear this, we will probably be only a few hours away from the drop of the new content, which we are very much looking forward to, and we'll have tons to talk about next week. So until next time, thank you very much for listening. Be safe, and we will see you in the Dark Zone. Great show, guys.
Are you doing tequila, but you don't have salts or a lime?
Straight.
Oh, man.
Straight.
Oh, man.
All right.
Well,
Because I think what we're going to do is
set it up.
Tim, we're going to set up to cover the stream here. But
Nice.
good show, guys.
Yeah. Very, very data-driven.
Good.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Mix of humor.
It was a good one.
And fun. The mispronunciation was a nice touch.
Yeah. I really want to have people, like, actually change their usernames just so they can send it to you and try and make you say it.
Unfortunately, this is PlayStation, and you can't do that shit.
Raj
Platoon.
Raj Platoon.
Platoon.
All right, if you're watching on YouTube, we're getting ready to jump over to Twitch. So.
All right, guys, I'm out.
Yep, have fun, everybody.
Switching over, man.
Much loves.
Peace.